Yon, Kickstart Coffee. Maraming salamat sa inyo, Kickstart Coffee, for supporting Off the Record. So yan nga po, we kickstart our mornings with Kickstart Coffee, and we'll kickstart our weekend for a great discussion this morning because she is one of the respected courtside reporters right now in the PBA and for the network. She is also an analyst for volleyball coverages for PSL. And at the same time, she was a former volleyball player for the UST Growling Tigresses. And maraming salamat po, Ka-OTR. Thank you so much for tuning to our show this morning. Introducing to you our guest, Pba Courtside reporter Denise Tan. Hello, Denise. Teka, parang wala kang audio. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. So again, good morning, Migs, and good morning to everybody watching Off the Record. Na-pressure ako dun sa respected tapos bagong gising.
Hindi, totoo talaga. Hindi kita kinukuki. Because of course, you are there for a reason, and you've been bringing the action to the fans, especially for the first 2 weeks. Gusto lang kita kamustahin. How are you? How is the journey? How is the bubble life personally for you, Denise?
Well, it's been very interesting. Personally, it's just little adjustments. Syempre, when you're here, you don't have anybody helping you like do your hair, do your makeup, and so mga little things na ganun. I had to learn quickly. So I think the first coverage that I had to do, I just tied my hair. The second day, I had to learn curling it on the spot. Like, mga ganun
Walang
lang,
makeup
little
artist.
adjustments.
Walang makeup artist.
Walang makeup artist.
Okay,
Yeah, walang makeup
okay.
artist. And then, of course, there are adjustments as well to how you get your interviews, adjustments with your movement, because of course, I mean, you can't go to the mall or you can't like run errands, go to the bank or take a walk anytime you want to. But going back to your question, okay naman ako and I'm adjusting really well and I'm excited for the next 6 to 7 weeks to go.
6 to 7 weeks to go. It is a journey.
Yeah, I think so.
But the PBA fans, of course, basketball fans, are thankful for broadcasters na nandyan. Siyempre, bringing the action, bringing the stories to us fans right here outside or Metro Manila or all over the world. Pero para po sa ating mga fans na pinapanood si Denise sa PBA, baka hindi na po nalalaman, siya po ay dating volleyball player. Diba? Sa UST. So how was that journey like? Your journey into sports first muna, Denise.
Well, it really started off when I was really young. My family has always been into sports. I actually used to watch the PBA when I was super young because my brother also used to play basketball. My dad was into it as well. Tapos, it's funny because I interviewed Coach Danny I think 3 days ago. Tapos muntik ako magka-fangirl moment. Like, I was telling my producers, raise the roof. Like I was telling my producers, like I was trying to be professional, but you know, when I was young, I actually had like I was watching sila Olsen, sila Danny those times 2000, 2001 MVP, diba? So, yun, I was actually into sports talaga, and then I got into volleyball. Just flew off from there. I think since I was 12, and I was lucky enough to be part of that UST team and the national team as well. So that was really a great experience. I think that went into building my character and who I am now, not just a sportscaster, but like Denise in general.
Nakakita nga natin, syempre, the legend, the living legend, Seth Sarmenta. Of course, you work as an analyst for PSL coverages also. Pero nga, Denise, can you take us through at least the latter part of your career na? As in, nung medyo magtatapos ka na sa UST, coming into the real world. Diba? What was it like? What was the volleyball landscape like back then? And how are you going to transition to your career after graduation?
It was funny because back then, the only people that were, I would say, supporting us or watching us is fellow volleyball players, family members, friends. But we didn't really get support from people outside of the volleyball community. So it's really it's really different now. And actually, like, people kept asking me as well about it. Nakaka-proud talaga how far volleyball has come. But yeah, going back, kami-kami lang talaga. And so right after playing, my mind really was just, okay, I need to get a job. I need to work right away because wala pa nun eh, wala pang pro, and you couldn't really like you couldn't really jump from collegiate to pro or semi-pro. I got started through my colleague, James Velasquez, and I always tell this story. He just randomly messaged me on Facebook and asking me if I cover volleyball games. I had never covered volleyball games. And this one is for beach volleyball pa, to be specific. And I was like, but yeah, I can do it, even though I have no idea how to do it. I'm like, yeah, go for it. And then I covered beach volleyball finals. And it
Agad-agad?
was
Your first?
agad-agad. My first
Okay.
was beach volleyball finals. And it was so funny kasi parang out of college, I didn't really work right away in the industry, in the media industry. So I forgot the very basic hand gestures like yung gap or like stretch. Yeah. So they were like, they were doing that while I was
Ano 'to?
talking. And I was like,
Ano 'to?
sabi ko, tas isip ako ng isip like, third year college, broadcast. What does this mean? And then I couldn't figure it out. And buti na lang, yun nga, James was such a professional, so he kept making salo. But yeah, eventually, I figured it out. Thank goodness. But that was my very first coverage. Tapos yun, tuloy-tuloy na rin since 2013, I would say. Yeah.
Mm. So parang kumbaga you would say that first game, first coverage was like your baptism of fire, but at the same
Oh,
time
yeah.
you loved it. You loved it right away.
Oh, of course, definitely. Like, who wouldn't want to do it? Like, ikaw, you're into basketball, you're covering basketball games. Like, it's so much fun because it doesn't feel like work, especially since you also know the people you're covering, and then you get close then with people from prod, from tech, and medyo cliche, pero 'di ba, parang if they really become your family, your second family, and it kahit gaano ka stressful or gaano kahaba yung hours mo at work, it's okay because you know that you could always talk to somebody, minsan vent out, kailangan din natin yon. But yeah, I really do enjoy it.
Mm. Denise, kailan
I don't think
pumasok
I'd
yung
last this long.
totoo yun, totoo. You have to love what
Mm-mm.
you do and do what you love,
Mm-mm.
di ba? In any industry naman. So,
Yeah.
congrats on that. Denise, pero at the same time, so yun nga, sabi mo, nagsimula ka as analyst, di ba, for coverage. Kailan nagsimula
Mm-hmm.
yung courtside reporting? And how was that journey from volleyball and then eventually had to learn basketball?
Um, I would say back in 2016, and I was really lucky kasi it was the time that finals na ba? I think semis nung Hinebra Meralco. I remember that. Governor's Cup 2016. Yeah, 2016. And then they were using me for the halftime show. Sa halftime show, sorry, they were using me for the show that had pre-game, halftime, and post-game analysis, somewhat in discussions. And then since I work as an analyst for volleyball, parang na-integrate ko siya into when I was starting PBA. So I would say stuff like, "Oh, this is how he never started. The pattern has been like this the past couple of games." And then they saw, I guess they were like, "Oh, so she saw patterns, like she got it." Like, so from there,
May technical, parang you
may
understood the
tech,
game.
oo,
Yeah.
parang ganon. Even though parang I've always enjoyed watching basketball, like, it's so hard for me to call a traveling, tipong ganon. Siguro kung tipong 5 steps, yan, kitang-kita na talaga. But, I was never really parang the kind of fan na I would see everything, the technical, the movement. But then when I started like, um, seeing patterns from stats and all that. And then from there, they were like, "Oh, let's test you out. Parang, I guess pwede ka, ganyan." And then, yeah, I think 2017, they tried me out as a courtside. Ito pa, di ba, the first coverage I did was a finals for beach volleyball. The first PBA game I did was Manila Classico, Christmas Day.
Wow.
So I was like, why do they keep putting me in this kinds of
Tinetesting ka,
situations?
tinetesting
Oo.
ka. Oo.
But at the same time, you're very thankful for it. I mean, I know you've been there, and they're not gonna put you there if kahit katiting, they don't believe that you can do it. So, I'm very thankful pa din na kahit sobrang anxious mo and excited mo, hindi mo na maintindihan yung emotions mo that certain day, is you still know for a fact na may tiwala sila sa'yo.
Hmm. Paano ba maging courtside reporter? Kasi 'di ba like when fans especially of course basketball is a male kumbaga male dominated ano yan viewership, 'di ba?
Mhm.
And of course they want besides of course the TV elements, you know what I'm talking about, the TV elements. At the same time, kailangan kahit papaano si reporter maganda yung sinasabi, yung naiintindihan. 'Di ba? Pero ano ba yung mga hindi nakikita ng tao sa isang courtside reporter? Ano yung what should you bring to the table? What goes on behind the scenes for you to be able to bring out the best that you do in what you do?
I think what others really don't see is the work that comes along with being a courtside reporter. Like a lot of them would always just say na, "Oh, like she's pretty," alam mo yon, the typical uh, fan that would think na yun lang yung kailangan, but there's really a lot of work. We go to the venue like 2 hours, some of us 3 hours before the game, and would really try to get videos, talk to each and every player. Minsan ball boys, minsan we reach out to family. We look at the stats. We look at the stats before, after, and during a game. So there's a lot of discipline and work that comes along with um, comes along with the job at hindi yun nakikita ng mga tao. You also have to have a good relationship with the player because you can't always talk to them about stats, diba? You can't just always talk to them about, oh, how you felt about your last game. You got you need to be able to have them open up to you on a personal level as well because at one point magsasawa din yung audience mo kakapakinig sa, oh, 16 points siya last game. Like, we all know that. They all know that. So, they would want to hear, like, yung human interest story. So,
Correct.
mas okay din kung, yun nga, the player's comfortable with you, kasi magugulat ka na lang, ang dami na lang kinakwento that they've never even talked about with other writers na mas madami pang, what do you call this? Uh, pag,
Time
what do you call that? No, mas
sa press
madaming
con?
pag what do you call that? Digging. Hindi ko matagalog.
Okay. Pagpiga,
Paghukay.
pagpiga,
Paghukay.
paghukay.
Oh,
Yes,
yun.
yes, yes, yes.
Paghukay. So
But it's an
yeah.
art, no, Denise? It is an art. Ayan nga, sabi ni Peach De Leon, syempre, komportable si Denise base sa kanyang sitting position. Alam niyo naman, relax lang. Syempre, relax lang sa
Mm-mm.
bubble. Pero yun nga, tawag mo dito, syempre, kami naman ni Denise, komportable lang kami sa isa't isa.
Mm-mm.
Syempre, we can just lounge, di ba? And just talk about what is it like, sports and life. Pero yun nga, ang tinatanong ko siguro, Denise, follow up to that question, it is an art form. It is not just you say na parang, uy, ano ba nangyari sa'yo? It's not off the bat that you do that.
Yeah.
There's a certain skill, certain art form that you learn over time.
Yeah. And at the same time, like even if you want to ask a certain question, you have to learn also not to ask it. Or like use different terms, not necessarily to put it nicely all the time, but you have to like work your way around the question. Maybe start off with something more personal so that they're more relaxed, alam mo yun? Hindi yung, oy, bakit ganun yung laro mo? Diba? So, as you say, there is a art form or a technique to getting the questions in.
Mm. Ngayon naman, siguro, Denise, tatanungin lang din natin to sa'yo, no? Ang ating Kickstart question of the day. Ano ba Kickstart question of the day natin? I don't know if you've heard this a while ago. Sino ang favorite player mo so far, of course, in your bubble? If meron kang kuwari, na-impress or like parang meron kang, uy, galing na. Meron ba ganung player?
Well, I try to stay away from that question because madaming magsasabi baka bias. Oo, baka sabihin bias yan, ganyan, diba?
Okay.
I try to stay away from that, but I would say lang na ito hindi cooking ah. I would say na I'm very impressed with everybody who's here because
Okay.
if hindi pa familiar yung mga tao sa schedule ng mga tao dito, it's really playing a game almost every other day. The off days that they do have are spent in training. They have gym sessions, which they can use kasi scheduled yung gym time, or they could use the pool, but some of them still use it for aqua training. So a lot of people here are super dedicated, super focused. And so I think it's unfair to pick one kasi ako first hand kita ko lahat talaga nung sacrifice tsaka yung hard work na ginagawa nila.
Ito maganda nga yung sinabi ni Ben Rances. Hello Ben, avid viewer natin to. At congrats din, pinadala ko ito ng off-the-record t-shirt kahapon. Ang comment ni Ben, getting some insights from this interview while preparing for a comms training later for my colleagues. Yan, maraming salamat Ben for taking inspiration from Denise. Denise, tanungin ko lang, di ba, papasok, ito personal personal view For you, nung nalaman mo na papasok ka sa bubble, was it overwhelming? Was the 2 months, yung 2 months na yun, was it overwhelming? Or at first, tingin mo ba, hindi, mabilis yung 2 months. But then when you were actually there, what is the life like?
I wasn't overwhelmed at all. I was super excited. The last time I was on cam before going inside the bubble was last March. And that was for volleyball pa nga March 8th, I distinctly remember that day. And so I was super excited to be...
Ang lapit na nun di ba?
Parang kahapon lang, no?
Parang kahapon lang.
So I was super excited talaga to start working again, see people that I love working with, to be able to bring back the PBA to the fans. About the 2.5 months, I wasn't really concerned with it because I'm such a homebody na I don't mind staying at home. Syempre, from time to time, magka-crave ka ng certain food that you'd want to order out, or syempre mga errands like going to the bank, doing the groceries and whatnot. But to me, it wasn't, for me lang it wasn't that far off from my usual routine, that I was totally fine staying in the bubble. And the reality of it, now that I'm here, is just like that. This is what I expected. I didn't expect the first 3 days because I was isolated. Right after the swab, you can't go out of your room. Like literal, sa loob ka lang ng room mo. But after that, when I got to go out and start working again, yun, parang it's how I imagined it to be when I was back home.
Also, within the quarantine, just would like to congratulate you. Hinugot namin itong picture nito from your Instagram, Denise. Congrats on your engagement.
Thank you.
Saan ba yan? Kwento mo naman, how did it happen? Personal.
Nahiya ako bigla. It's funny kasi my fiance and I, we always talked about like our future together, like even getting engaged and years down the road. So we talked about it so much, like sobrang daming beses, that there was no tell. Alam mo yun, like for some girls siguro, like when he starts asking about, ano bang gusto mong cut? Ano bang gusto mong style? Or whatever. And then, let's say, you go to have a nice lunch or nice dinner, like medyo tell, like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna pop the question? Walang ganun because we talked about it so much na parang, this is just another convo. So, yeah, and then he just went for it, popped the question, and it was the easiest yes I ever had to say.
Shoutout ka naman. Maybe he's watching. Maybe lang.
Hi, babe.
Kala ko first name lang. His name is Tom, tama ba?
Yeah.
Yes. Kala ko Tom lang, biglang napa-babe. Hello, babe.
Babe.
Good morning.
Para with extra kilig.
Yeah, with extra kilig. Kinilig naman ako. Kinilig din ng mga fans natin. So, shoutout lang ako dito kay Ethan Shelo. He's not into sports. Pero yun nga daw, kapag nanonood nga daw siya ng kanyang ng mga vlogs natin, na-appreciate niya. At syempre, very engaging itong interview natin with Denise Tan. So maraming salamat po, Ethan Shelo. So now, it's the weekend. Pero bang is it the first weekend actually the second weekend that you're going to be spending there? What's it like kapag Downtime.
Oh,
Party. Nagsali mag-party, ha?
oy, wala akong ganyan inside, ah. Just
Wala,
to be
wala, wala,
clear.
wala.
Oo.
Di pwede, di pwede.
Um, Honestly, same as with the players, yung off day is still spent on work. So, what I do on my off day, syempre kung meron mga um, commitments that I had na before coming in, fino-fulfill ko lang yon. Like yesterday, and then I would make calls kasi again, iba yung setup. We were doing our interviews, or we're getting our interviews via phone. And then a lot of it is just spent lounging around and sleeping. Yun lang talaga, pahinga. Kasi like with the athletes, parang syempre kailangan mo din mag-recover with the daily work that you have to do.
And I see you holding your pen. I know that the preparation, the grind that you have to put in. Para po
I
sa
have my
mga gusto
notes
ko
here.
yan ang notes. Para po sa mga viewers natin, hindi lang po basta-basta na nagsasalita, hindi lang basta-basta na kumukuda, 'di ba? On TV, lahat po yan
Mm-hmm.
is through preparation. It's not also
Mm-hmm.
stock knowledge. Stock knowledge will get you far, will get you somewhere,
Yeah.
pero iba po yung pag-prepare at yung pag-aaral. Sabi nga ni Denise, 3 hours before, 2 hours before. Yan po ang preparation ng broadcaster. Denise, para naman sa mga fans mo, kailan ba ang next game mo? Kailan ka nila next naabangan?
Mamaya, I'm doing the
Yeah.
game later. Oo.
Ayan. So, please watch that, of course, on the networks, One Sports, and of course, on live stream. Lastly, Denise, maybe message to any shout out, etc. na gusto mong ibigay, go ahead.
I just want to invite everybody to keep supporting the PBA. Every day po tayo, the whole eliminations. And it's still the same schedule, 4 p.m. for the first game, 6:45 for the second. And keep supporting yung mga ibang leagues din and ibang sports na nag-uumpisa na ulit gumalaw ngayon. I know PFL is starting na with Sedelf. I was
Yeah.
messaging him. Yeah, I was messaging him last night. So ayun po, madami pong sumusubok na mag-umpisa ulit, and this is all for you. And so I hope that when they do get things started, tuloy-tuloy niyo po silang suportahan. And of course, keep supporting Off the Record with Migs Bustos. Yung
Yes, maraming
pinaka-importante.
salamat. Yan ang pinaka-importante. Maraming salamat. Sige, plug mo na rin. Denise, how can they follow you on social media?
So I am on Instagram and Twitter at _ Denise Tan. Nakalimutan ko pa.
Alright, so maraming salamat. Of course, Pba Courtside reporter Denise Tan. Denise, thank you so much na nahugot kita for this morning. Appreciate it. Stay safe and God bless right there in the bubble. And we will watch you in the PBA games. Denise, thank you so much. So para sa mga nanonood, baka meron kayong mga suggestion na topics, di ba? Mga topics for next time. So susubukan natin yan. Kung meron man, kung hindi na ma-comment dito, i-message na lang ako sa Instagram. So again, follow me on Instagram at Migs Bustos. Lahat po ng Migs Bustos sa social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Migs Bustos. Meron mga suggestion na topics, maybe in sports, life, family, lagay po natin yan dito. So hindi naman tayo kailangan hard streamlined sports, di ba? So importante, meron tayong nare-relate sa ating mga buhay. Alright, so once again, this has been Off the Record with Migs Bustos. See you in the next episode.